Hello, welcome to Fractions 2. Today we're going to compare fractions and we're going to multiply and divide fractions. So let's go. So today we're going to talk about comparing fractions. I have two fractions, 5/7 and 8/11. Is 5/7 equals to 8/11, or is it equal? Sorry about the S there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 5 times 11, and I'm going to get 55. 7 times 8, and I'm going to get 56. This is called cross multiplication. Now, 55 is not equal to 56. As a matter of fact, 55 is less than 56. So this is the less than symbol, and the smaller part goes to the smaller number, okay? Or the point goes to the smaller number. So this says 55 is less than 56. So this is called comparing fractions. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try 8/9 and 104 over 117. Okay, do these two fractions equal each other? Are they equal? So we're going to try cross multiplication. So we're going to do 8 times 117. And is that equal to 9 times 104? So 117 times 8, 56. 13, 9. So this is 936, and this is 104 times 9, 36, 9. Oh, look at that. They are equal. So these two fractions are equivalent fractions. So that's how you can find, well, you can determine if they are equivalent fractions. Okay, you could also figure it out by saying 8/9, and you have 104 over 117. You could reduce this fraction, and if you just keep dividing it down, you should come out to 8/9. But the shortcut would be to do cross multiplication. All right, now we're going to move on to multiplying fractions. Okay, multiplying fractions is quite simple if you know how to multiply. Okay, so all you have to do to multiply fractions is you multiply across. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 7 is 35. And you are done. That's it. Okay, now sometimes you will be able to reduce fractions. Okay, so we will talk about that in a future lesson. But the basics for multiplying fractions is that you just multiply the two numbers on the top, which are the numerators, right? And you multiply the denominators, and you come out with one fraction. Okay, now the tricky part for dividing fractions, okay, I'm going to tell you this, and I hope you remember it. We don't divide fractions. We do not divide fractions, okay? So any fraction, and it has a division symbol in between the two fractions, like 1/6 divided by 5/9, you say, dividing fractions. We don't divide fractions. So what do we do? Okay, so the rule for dividing fractions is that you don't really divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, multiply by the reciprocal. So if I have 1/6 divided by 5/9, that's equal to 1/6 times 9 over 5. Okay, so multiply by the reciprocal. And look, 5/9, 9/5. The reciprocal is just flipping that fraction. Now, I've heard some people say that you multiply, flip, like change it to multiply, then flip. Flip is a good word. It helps kids to know what you do with the fraction, but the official word is reciprocal. And it is important to know that reciprocal means you just switch the fraction. So the reciprocal for 1/3 would be 3/1 or 3. The reciprocal for, say, 10/11 is 11/10. Okay, they are not equal to each other. They are the reciprocal. You're actually dividing. It's like the same thing. Dividing by this number is the same thing as multiplying by this number because division, this symbol in between the two numbers here, that means division. Okay, so you are sort of dividing, but in the kid's mind, it's easier to just say when you are dividing fractions, you do not divide, you multiply by the reciprocal, which is the same thing. Okay. So I've seen sometimes kids say, oh, we don't divide fractions, we multiply. It's not just multiply. Don't just switch it to multiply. You have to switch it to multiply by the reciprocal, or you change it to times and you flip the fraction. And it has to be the second fraction. You can't flip the first one because you like that one better. You have to flip the second one, not the first one. And it's important the order on that. Okay, so when you're dividing fractions, you're always going to have only two fractions. And so you just multiply by the reciprocal. And that works for all division problems when you are dividing fractions. Okay, so multiplication, you multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator. And when you get to division, you say, I don't divide, I multiply by the reciprocal. And then when you change the problem to multiply by the reciprocal, you go back to your multiplication rules. And so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for video 3 on fractions.